Тоталитарная система, лишившая страну возможности давно стать благополучной и процветающей.
А я думала...
When the imposter is us. Pum, 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 pum. Tu-tu-tum. Dun-dun.
Hello everyone, what's up? It's Roman. After all these edits and stuff I posted on YouTube, and due to some inactivity there, I wasn't doing videos there for a while, but anyways, let's skip this. Today I want to have some kind of serious conversation, and I want to explain, and so people understand, I want to explain how did the Soviet Union lost the Cold War, by what means, and how the United States and the globalist, capitalist, imperialist powers and the bourgeois class managed to do so. So anyways, we'll talk about war. In all history of humanity, there always have been wars. On air, on ground, on sea, underground, everywhere. And maybe in the future soon in space. Anyways, to make a war, you always know the war as two armies meeting on the front line with the enemy army and your army fighting each other and destroying each other with the strength of their weapons. But this is not the only way to make a war. On the modern world, you can also make a war by, for example, sending a traitor inside the enemy base, and so the traitor will, the imposter, you send the imposter will open the doors during the night, so your army will enter and will destroy everything. You can also do other means. You can also make the enemy stop using its resources to produce their weapons and to feed their population and their army, and so it will also allow you to win and to have a massive victory over the enemy base and team. It was way more easy back in the days when you had to take your sword and defend your village against the enemy village or tribe to defend your village. Otherwise, the enemy will destroy your cows, your wheat fields, burn your houses down, and then if you don't defend yourself, then you wouldn't have anything to eat and you wouldn't have anything to live normally. It was back then. On the modern days, it is way more complicated to describe a war. You can, for example, to produce a sword, you need metal, you need wood, you need materials, you need people who know how to do this, and to have these people, you need to teach them. But for making a firearm, you need more material, you need an engineer, metal. You need, once again, wood, you need to make bullets, you need to make the whole mechanism, and to this you need, once again, you need a whole factory, you need specialists, and you need designers, you need everything. To make a tank, it's even more. You need the same materials, metal, splav, steel, и так далее, и так далее. But you also need oil to fuel your tanks, and a whole factory. To make a modern day plane, you need a factory, you need pilots, you need also specialists and engineers to design and create this. And there is this way to win a war I wanted to talk about before, is that if your enemy have planes, tanks, and these weapons, you can also do something, is that you can literally cut their means, destroy their factories, and boom, they have no more tanks, they have no more planes, they have no more firearms. You can also do something way more complicated and way more technique, is that you can manage to, by the inside, somehow brainwash the population and say to them, do not use oil, oil is bad, oil is shit, it is very dangerous for your life, and if you don't stop using oil, then the whole world will die. And boom, no more oil. And what the enemy will do about it? Nothing, because they have tanks, they have planes, but nothing works. Nothing can work. By the way, it's not because you don't hear gunshots or noises of bombs and enemy airplanes flying by you that there is no war. War can happen in many other ways, like I explained, with the economy and political circumstances. And you see, as I said, weapons evolve: sword, pistols, gun, rifles, automatic guns, then tanks, then planes, and in the 20th century, the humanity made it peak with the weapon, the atomic bomb, the nuclear weapon. But there is a problem, is that in a war where we will use this weapon, there will be no victories for anyone, because this weapon will destroy the whole humanity, as you might already know. Two countries faced this situation: the United States of America and the Soviet Union. They faced this situation, and they couldn't fight in a terrain, because otherwise it would make the end of humanity, the end of the world. This is why they used many other means. This is called a Cold War. If you have been in history class, then you might know about the Cold War, but wait, I will tell you more deep into the Cold War. We'll go deep and we will see every means of how one and the other countries used, especially on the United States, since it's the winners of the Cold War. And the peak of the Cold War, the peak where we almost got into World War III with nuclear weapons and the end of the world, it was the Cuban crisis in 1962. We faced the Cuban crisis, the Cuban Missile Crisis, where Khrushchev and the Soviet Union decided to put nuclear missiles on the Cuban land that was facing all the east coast of the United States. Many other leaders in the world, and in these both countries especially, both admitted that a war with nuclear weapons will be too dangerous and it will be the end of humanity. Even Khrushchev, that wanted to bury the Americans,
На 3 метра в землю, понимаете, вогнали. Так что вы, господа, укайте, да оглядывайтесь. Если вы будете укать против нас и будете опять готовить нападение, мы так ухнем, что больше не будешь укать.
and wanted to показать Кузькину мать, решил, decided to not use Cuban crisis was the peak of the Cold War, but it decreased because of diplomatic relations. They talked, they arranged, they decided to retire missiles, и так далее, и так далее. You know the history. If you're smart enough to understand history. So the United States and the Soviet Union, they could not fight directly, so they would use other wars, like the Vietnam War, like the Korean War. They had to use these wars to not fight directly, but to provide supplies and weapons to the army they want to win. Like in Vietnam, Viet Congs were using Soviet ammunition and weapons against the United States military. Same as well with, like today in Ukraine army is mostly using Western supply weapons. But anyways, you get what I mean. The country that is supported by the United States or by the Soviet Union provide weapons and material to the country they want to win. Also, they can fight in a way or other. More technical way is that they can also make, like I explained it in the beginning of the video, there is other ways and other means to make a war. You can always use the ground army versus army method, but there is the method of, like I said, the Cold War. Or the other method, that's when you pay a traitor or an imposter to go in the enemy village, open the gates, so your army will enter inside. The best example of it is Mikhail Gorbachev, the last General Secretary of the Soviet Union. But that's also happened in history with the, for example, the horse of Troy. I think that's how it's called. It's in the Greek mythology when one army decided to give a gift to their enemy. They gave a horse, and inside the horse they were the Greek army. And the enemy take the horse inside their base, inside their village, and during the night the Greek army get out of the horse with their swords and they massacre the village, and they finally managed to win the war due to this Troy horse. So this is exactly, it's not exactly the same, it's more technical, more political, and way more different in modern day words, but This is kind of the situation that happened in the Soviet Union with Mikhail Gorbachev. So you see, the Soviet Union, the United States used another mean of war. They used the ground war as well, but not directly by fighting each other, but by making other countries fight for them, like Vietnam, like Korea, anyways, и так далее, и так далее. So, and the Cold War as itself is when they fight with different means. So we had the space race and this shit, like you understand, you know this, with weapon race. But also, they wanted, like, there is the capitalist bloc and the communist bloc. Both of them want to impose their idea on each other. Communist side we want to put and to implant communism in the whole world, especially on the United States. Meanwhile, the United States want to implant capitalism and liberalism on the Soviet Union and on the whole world. They managed to do so, but we will come to it later. Imagine that you are in the head of the government of a country, that you have a nuclear weapon, but the enemy country that is fighting against you in the Cold War also have nuclear weapons. You are a good person, so you won't throw on him the nuclear weapon because you know that a nuclear warfare will destroy the world, so you won't do it. But how can you know that he won't do it? Even if you know that he knows that a nuclear warfare will destroy the whole world, but still you don't have a 100% guarantee. So how would you sleep with it at night? So this threat has to be destroyed. You need to get rid of this threat, of this potential nuclear war threat. But how? How would you get rid of this threat? With, like I said at the beginning of the video, once again, with the inside, with traitors. You need traitors. So now let's see the signs of a country that lost a Cold War. Let's see the signs of how you lost a war. The United States had created NATO, the alliance against the Eastern Bloc. NATO, so I will put here the list of all countries in NATO in 1985. You see, and in the response of NATO, Soviet Union has created the Warsaw Pact. The Warsaw Pact, yeah. And this is the countries that are inside in 1985. Of course, Soviet Union had more allies, but they were not all in the Warsaw Pact, but here are the countries that are in the Warsaw Pact. The first sign that you lost a Cold War is the allies. Because how much strong you aren't, allies are always useful. So now let's see the allies that were in the Warsaw Pact, the allies Soviet Union had, and the allies the United States had on this post-bloc NATO and Warsaw Pact. This is in 1985. Now, today, many years passed. The Soviet Union is no more. Warsaw Pact is no more. So now let's see what happened. Most of the countries of the Warsaw Pact are now inside of NATO. Was yours, became ours. You understand? Isn't it a sign that we lost the Cold War? Isn't it a sign of loss when was yours, became ours? Gorbachev also said many times with his reforms, гласность, перестройка, нужна больше свободы, нужна демократия, долой бюрократия. Он говорил, he said, we need to do this, and NATO said to him, you do right, the Americans say to him, you do right, this is right, do this, yeah, wonderful, good relations between our countries, that's good today. And so Gorbachev said, we will take down Warsaw Pact, and boom, NATO, why would they exist if Warsaw Pact is dead? This is what Gorbachev said, but as you see, NATO still exists, as I showed, and it isn't going to disappear for a long time now. Now, next sign that your country lost a Cold War is territory. In all wars in all means. Cold, like hot wars, anyways, you lost territory. Now, look a map of the Soviet Union and the Warsaw Pact before, and look a map of modern Russia and the Warsaw Pact, ex-Warsaw Pact and ex-Soviet countries in this map. Now look at comparison, and now tell me it's not a sign that we lost the war and that we are the losers in the story. Tell me that it isn't true. You can't. Okay, you will try, Putinist and pro-Russians will try to say to me, yes, I know that pro-Russians and pro-Putin will always say me, yeah, but look, great Russia today. We have a proof here that we lost the Cold War and that we keep losing it. And that we keep losing it. Because I will now pass to the third point of a loss of a third sign that we lost the Cold War and a war in general. I will pass to the third sign. And the third sign is very, very important and decisive, and it explains a lot about modern society and about how capitalism works. Listen to me. So the third sign is the population decrease. Now I will show you the population of Soviet Union, and not only so. Now you see the population of Soviet Union. Now Soviet Union is dead. Now there is only Russia, but. So that means we not count the population that Russia have today. Okay. Meanwhile, let's look now at RSFSR, the Russian Socialistic Federative Soviet Republic. Only Russian Republic inside Soviet Union. This is the population Russia have. This is the population of modern Russia. And by looking at the growth curve that I will post here, you should look, you see, Brezhnev era, Gorbachev, Medvedev, Putin. And так далее. You see how the curve is going. If we take the Brezhnev statistics under Brezhnev era and see how the curve is going, we are supposed to think that by this population increase, by these same numbers, by the same calculus, by this same mathematics, we are supposed to get in 2000s, we were supposed to get this number. Meanwhile, Russia in 2000s got this number. It is between both of the numbers, there is like 11 million человек, 11 million people. There is an amount of people that is not here. And now we will tell you, no matter how you kill your enemy with an automatic gun rifle, or you can make the enemy not even born, guys. You can make the enemy not even born. You see, 11 million people. You can consider that Gorbachev killed them, that the United States killed 11 million people. They make them not born. Because you see the curve of the population, it was supposed to keep increasing, but it decreased massively. And instead of getting this number, we got this one. There is almost this number, there is these people that aren't here. These people aren't here today, and they will not be. That's over. Okay, I had just few technical problems with the memory on my device, but that's okay. Yeah, so I was saying, we just look at the most signs that shows that we lost the Cold War. It is the population, the territory, and the allies. This is the three main. But if you go outside in Russia, you can also find other signs in the culture, around the people, around everything, on politics. Like, for example, what music do young people listen in Russia? American style. Yeah, and most American. What clothing they are wearing? Jeans. America. Everything. America. What food the young people are eating? McDonald's. KFC, Burger King, etc. Even if McDonald's is closed in Russia due to the circumstances of today's, but anyways, meanwhile we still eat. The young people still go always on these things that are Americans. Now another sign that shows the loss of the Soviet Union during the Cold War is when the country that is defeated always goes to the enemy's demands. Now you can see the enemy, that's been the United States, says, for example, no more communism, and what happens? Communists that tried to get back in power in 1993, they got bashed and smashed. Still the same going today, still a lot of repression against the communists in Russia, and yeah. This is all the sign that shows that we lost Russia. You can see today people say, the Putinists say great Russia, oh my god, и так далее, и так далее. I'm gonna tell you guys, look outside, все поля, сельское хозяйство. I mean the fields where there was colchos and factories before, all abandoned. It's keep, trees are now growing there and no more factories. Just like I said, when you get the factories, there is no more army. Almost zero production of anything. Russia today is lost. We have lost the Cold War. And today you don't see some people like the Chechen War, or people say, let's put Kafkaz out of Russia, let's put Leningradovskaya Oblast out of Russia, let's put Moscow independent state, let's put Sibir independent state, let's completely divide Russia. This is the plan of the United States today, to continue to destroy Russia. And isn't it a continuation of the war, guys? Isn't it a sign again that it's still going? As I said in the beginning of the video, it is not because you don't hear gunshots that there is no war going. War is going, war is always going, in other means, always and always. And these people who say we're gonna take this out of Russia, this is the continuation of the war. This is the continuation of the war. And as I said at the beginning, two blocks, communist bloc and capitalist bloc, each other wanna implant their system in the other. And who won? The capitalist one. They implanted the system of capitalism inside the ex-Eastern Bloc, and the modern Russia, who do not use the red flag anymore, but a tricolor, and who still who have private enterprises and everything rolling over, privatization, и так далее, и так далее. The rest I will show you on graphics, how it's changed, how everything changed. You can see all the differences between Gorbachev, Yeltsin. One traitor come, do his work, you can bring the next traitor with new reforms, Boris Yeltsin, etc., etc. And why they want to destroy Russia at all, why Russia is the one that actually gets destroyed, why the Americans and the globalists want so much Russia to die, is because there is still intelligent people there. There is still people who know about it. There is still people who understand the whole situation. I'm not talking about me, no. There is many other people that are smart there and that understand what is going on. Look at all the brilliant civilization, like Germany, Japan, Greece, Egypt, Italy, and the rest, destroyed. All the smart civilization, destroyed. Because the smart civilization are the civilization that goes into a better future, and a better future for humanity is a bad future for the bourgeoisie. Remember this. Товарищи, as I explained, it is a war against the Russian people, a war against the working class people, a war against every smart civilizations that are a potential obstacle and threat against the bourgeoisie. Look at how people are dead and brainwashed in the brilliant past civilizations, and how they are becoming in Russia with the modern liberal youth. They made you think that Soviet Union had to collapse because, my God, communism is so shit, and because liberalism and democracy is freaking good. But we have seen what democracy have done to the country with all this graphic. We have seen what capitalism have done, and we have seen how communism was by far the superior system to the condition of lives of the people in general. We see how the globalist Americans want to destroy our country, make us fully slaved and brainwashed, brain dead idiots. ships, and they already have done it with most of the Russian youth that still think that Soviet Union had to collapse because it was inevitable. Meanwhile, I just explained to you how it happened. It happened with the inside strategy, as I explained, because in war you can make many strategies, and the inside one was the only option available for America, because they could not do a face-to-face war with us, because we had also nuclear weapons. Alright. Давай, товарищи, будем пиздить Америку!